Hey, it's Levi here and welcome back. Today we're going to be taking a look at this ceiling leak that I found downstairs. Now sometimes you can hide a problem like this, but I knew that if I didn't really find the source of the problem and fix it at the root of the problem, that it would cause me more problems down the line. So I decided to cut into it. Now, I've never looked into a problem like this before, so I was just kind of trying to figure it out one step at a time, and I didn't really call any contractors in until the very end. I documented the whole process of cutting into it, finding the source of moisture, and doing the repair so you can see what this whole process looks like step by step. This video was filmed over a couple months, so this is not a one-day fix. It took like multiple visits to go back and do certain things. This is a can of worms that no homeowner wants to deal with, so let's get into it and figure out the solution.
All right, so I'm down here in the basement. So I'm gonna take this drywall saw and I'm gonna cut into it. There's the water stain right there, and oh, when I touch it with my hand there, it's soft to the touch and it feels wet. Pretty nasty. And yeah, just by touching it with the saw there, it just pokes right through. Oh, there it is. I don't believe this hole is big enough to really tell anything. This comes apart. Yeah, and there's the mold. So this is where I have to leave it today. I cut a larger hole. I got, I believe, all of the wet material. I'll have to double check that a little bit later. I was suggested to put a fan up to give this some airflow. So I put a fan up. Hopefully it dries out. Yeah, so I'll just leave that. So this is what we're looking at right now. Basically, I have the hole up here. We've determined where the water is coming from, which is causing the problem. So essentially, up there you can see some hoses. So that white one here, that one is the supply line for my dishwasher. And the black one, that one's the like the waste, the drain line for the dishwasher. So the holes that these hoses were put through were not sealed or anything. So essentially when the water would drip down, it would drip into this cavity here. And that's what, caused the problem. So what I had to do is come up here and take this dishwasher out and see kind of what the issue is. So I unscrewed all the stuff. Pull this thing out. So when I finally got in here, I realized right away that the supply line right there was leaking. So I had to replace this metal braided hose, and I believe that stopped the leak there. So that's good. But then I figured out that all the way back here, that hose clamp had failed. So it was leaking from there as well. And then to add insult to injury, this thing was leaking too. This is called a diverter motor. It's a part of the dishwasher. I'm not gonna get into it. Placed all that, got a new hose clamp for this, got this all cleaned up. So that was the problem, and now it's all fixed. However, when this thing was all put together, at first there was no caulking in between these, so there was actually a gap. So water would drip down and then it would go into the crack and then find its way back there and then into this hole. So that white stuff there that's the flex paste that I use to seal the hole. So I'm hoping that works pretty good. I also did the same thing on this end. That was a big hole in the tile and a big gap there. So technically, unfortunately, water could still go down that way, which would be pretty annoying. Now the water should stay up here in this area, and you might even see it come out forward before it actually goes back into the hole there. So if you are installing your own dishwasher, I would highly recommend just double checking, making sure that you've got some good caulking around the edges. So if you do have a leak, that hopefully the water doesn't get deep into the insides of your house and cause damage that costs a lot of money and time to repair. Now I need to go downstairs and fix the hole from the bottom. So this is the view from underneath, and if you look closely there, you can kind of see the hole and basically where the flex paste kind of come out a little bit. So what I'm gonna do is add a little bit more flex paste on top of that, and then I'll probably add some flex paste to this hole as well. Just kind of gotta jam it into there. I'm actually gonna be using my fingers a little bit because I just wanna have the control over the product. I tried to cut some drywall patches that were not the right thickness, so I ended up having to do that all again. So if you're ever doing something like this,
double check your drywall thickness so you're not wasting time cutting the same thing twice. So what I had to do to get this kind of patch sorted out is I had to figure out what an exact rectangle would be. So this actually was surprisingly challenging because nothing's square. So I was trying to measure against the wall, and that kind of works, but not really. It was kind of still off a little bit. I measured against this wall too. That was actually quite a lot better, but basically measured kind of the distances from here to there, right? And just to try to get like a nice even straight line. And then I also used the studs as a reference point to try to get these lines that go across this way. So I tried cutting this all by hand before, but I ran into some issues with that where basically things ended up really jagged. I'm gonna be using an oscillating tool in hopes that it will allow me to cut straighter because I'm not like just doing it all by hand. So let's see how this goes. Hopefully I can get these installed today. Then that's sealed up. I finally got this all patched in, so now the hole is covered. However, this spot here is sagging down. I have to push on it for it to actually sit flush. So after a little bit of thought, I decided that what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna cut a little bit more from the ceiling. Just a little bit further in there, like maybe just a few more inches. There's another resilient channel, which is this metal strip, so I can get my patch piece drilled in. That will hopefully solve my problem so I have good flush edges all around. All right, so I just got my final measurement, hopefully, for the actual covering piece here. And now I've got it 38 3/8 and 30 this way. Now that I've got the 3 resilient channels to screw into, I think this will work much better. So I'm happy with that, hopefully. So once I got that drywall on, I decided that I didn't want to do the texturing myself because if you know what you're doing, you're probably gonna get a better result. And so I decided to hire that out, and I do not regret that one bit. And at the end of the day, I'm pretty happy with that. Now, of course, it's not perfect. It's not gonna be totally seamless and totally flawless, but that's not what's gonna happen. If you have a problem with your ceiling, the cheapest thing, in my opinion, is just to repair the spot that's broken. And if you wanna redo the whole ceiling, you can, but that's gonna cost you a lot more time and money. And so the last thing I gotta do is paint the ceiling. This process took about 2 separate days, and I had to be really careful not to drip any paint anywhere. Now, by the time I got done painting this, I took a look and I thought it looked pretty good. Well, there you have it. That's everything. So thanks for watching, and hopefully you found this video useful and helpful. And hopefully if you're in a similar boat, then you can find a solution, get you to the end result a lot quicker than I had to do. So before I go, I just gotta say, if you like this video, hit that like button down there. If you wanna see more of my content, please hit the subscribe button. I'd be happy to see you on the next video. But until then, bye for now. I'll see you next time.